What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HawgSports.com. 12 practices in the books. We're going to discuss what we've learned so far. We're going to look ahead to the future as well. Me and you today. All that and more on today's episode of Hawg Sports Live. I want to tell you guys about my friends over at Crane Automotive. The Crane Automotive team has 16 locations across our state and is home to the Crane commitment. You'll find Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and access to thousands of pre-owned vehicles. Vehicles for every lifestyle and every budget. Even if you're not in the market for a vehicle, the Crane Team Service Centers offer the latest in vehicle diagnostic technology and certified technicians to take care of your vehicle and get you back on the road. Check them out at craneteam.com. Hawg Sports Live is driven by the Crane Automotive team.
There it is, that feeling of a big win. Yeah, that's you, enjoying your moment, because you just won big with the Crane Team. Your perfect vehicle at the perfect price. You got Crane Cash discounts and more than you ever dreamed for your trade. Sure feels good, doesn't it? With 16 different locations around the state and every vehicle backed by the Crane commitment, we keep Arkansas moving. That's winning. That's the Crane Team. Visit craneteam.com.
I get lost looking at the website. I mean, there's so many vehicles on there, so much to choose from. It can be a little overwhelming. Go talk to them. Go check them out. There's probably one in your neighborhood with 16 across the state of Arkansas. Good stuff over at the Crane Automotive team, and a special thanks to them for being the title sponsor of today's show. So today at practice, Shells, it was 79 degrees again. They caught a real break on the weather. They haven't been rained out except for the first day. The first day, about an hour in, I mean, the bottom dropped out, and I'm talking for hours. But there was a little sprinkle earlier this week, right before team stretch, but that's it. A couple of things that I've noticed today, watching the quarterbacks a lot, and kind of wanted to get an idea of who's got the strongest arm. I kind of had an idea in my head from watching them warm up, but I spent about 8 minutes just watching them go from like 20 to 25, 40, 45, all the way out to 50 yards. And I don't know if I've ever seen a group of four quarterbacks who are really so similar in arm strength. I would say like Grayson Wilson to me throws just a really steady, clean ball. It comes out there really smooth. Trevor Jackson's got a lot of velocity, more velocity than I actually thought, because I watched him a lot. He had a throw that was probably 45 yards where he's running and like he's running forward and throwing. And I mean, it is a laser. It's got a lot of velocity. Taylor's probably number one. If I had to guess, I'd say Taylor's probably number one. Maybe KJ and Trevor and Grayson. I don't know. It's that close. I thought maybe Grayson had a bigger arm, but when I saw him running and throwing like that, man, the ball just flew out of his hands. Just something I was watching. We've only got a couple of practice. We only got one practice left. Today was day 12. 13 is Friday. There's no media availability. We spoke with Deke Adams and Justice Boone, who looks a lot like Tank Wright to me. I don't know. You guys tell me. And Cam Ball, who's just love talking with Cam Ball. It's just his energy, who he is, the fact that he turned down stuff. Cam lost his father, obviously, just recently. He's spoken about that, and, obviously a tough deal. I mean, there's no other thing to say about that. And one of the conversations he had with his dad, one of the last conversations he had was just about what to do, because he had so many options coming at him. And, they talk together, and the plan, stay at Arkansas. This guy is an example. Now, not every situation is the same. You might run into a situation where things just aren't working out and it's time to move. But for a guy like Cam, who's a stud and having so many opportunities, not being like pushed out or anything like that, or not dealing with like some situation, and he stays at Arkansas. And I'll tell you how unique it is. Name somebody else. Name another fifth-year senior on this team who started his career at Arkansas. I'll wait. Crazy, isn't it? It's not like it used to be. So shout out Cam Ball again. I think I did on the last show too, but we had him in there today, and he was fantastic again, and really liked what I saw from Justice Boone. Obviously a different path for him coming from Florida, where things maybe just didn't work out. Really liked his demeanor also, and looking forward to getting to know him. And he's really come on also. So positive things there. Plenty of ways to watch and listen to the show. We're always streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on X. Be sure to subscribe to one of those channels or pages. Like, you know what to do. Thumbs up, comment, interact with the video. All that stuff helps. Of course, after this, it'll be uploaded to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. We'd love to have a 5-star rating from you and a review. Say something nice about the show if you like it. If you don't, maybe don't say anything at all. But hopefully you like it. We've got a pretty good rate. We're 4.9 stars, over 1,000 reviews, and we're certainly very proud of that. And thanks to all of you guys for taking the time to do that. And if you haven't, we'd love to have you do it now. Okay. So this is kind of a weird story. I want to share this real quick. So last night I'm over at a friend's house, and we're in his driveway. He's got his his house is kind of up on a hill a little bit, and we're in his driveway talking, and I see this dude walking by with a Bernedoodle on a leash. And it took me a second because his hair's longer than it was. And I go, Traylon. It was Traylon Burks. It was Traylon Burks walking, and he looks up and recognized me. He goes, "What's up, Trey?" And we started talking. The first thing that kind of jumped out, this is weird, but he had on the exact same Vuori core shorts that I have. I have 3 pairs actually, but we both had on the same saltwater red shorts on, which is crazy. Burks, I'm 47. He's like 24 probably or something. But anyway, I thought that was cool. If you don't have those, I would like to recommend them. But anyway, we just talking a little bit. He's got a scar on his collarbone from where he broke his collarbone. He said like 4 to 6. It's like, man, that's tough. And he's like, it's part of the game. So great attitude. But he's obviously, trying to get healthy and get back out there. So it was cool to see Traylon Burks walking a Bernedoodle. And you don't see that every day, do you? And by the way, I mentioned those Vuori core shorts. They've got them at Walker Brothers. Like, they've got the liner on the inside. I use them for like swim trunks. I use them for lounging around. Like I said, I have 3 pairs of these. I don't think I have 3 pairs of any other kind of pants. But they have them at Walker Brothers, in addition to tons of stuff like, Vuori stuff. I don't know about you guys. I love basically all their stuff. I have I have joggers. I have, wearing around the house stuff. I have some polos. I have a jacket. Like, I like the stuff, and you can get it all at Walker Brothers. If you haven't been there before, they just opened a new store up in Rogers. If I can bring up the address, it's 3503 South 55th Street, Suite 101 in Rogers. And they're in Fayetteville, which is my local store, which is where I go to all the time, 577 Millsap Road, Suite number 6. So they've got like Peter Millar, Johnny O, Horn Legend, Divot Sportswear. They've got all these shirts. And you can also get them with like the Crazy Hog logos or the Curly Tail logo on them. So, for obviously they're big Razorback people. I've known those guys for a long time. I've known people in that family for 25 years. Used to live next to Thomas Cole, who you can see up at the store. I haven't known him as long, but he was my neighbor, So I think it's really cool to, be able to partner up with people that, I have a relationship with and I trust and I know good people. So go check them out. Walker Brothers. You can visit them at walkerbrothers.com. That is the address, and check out some of the stuff, some of the packages they offer. Good people up there. And now in Rogers. Rogers gets all the good stuff, don't they? Big new store, a lot of nice restaurants. I'm relying on Alan Cole to help save Fayetteville in a lot of ways. He's in commercial real estate. Just seems like all the good stuff's going to Rogers or Bentonville. Like, I don't know if it was the former mayor. I don't know what happened, but Fayetteville just feels like it got left behind a little bit. I live in an area where there's like Like, where's the Texas Roadhouse? Where's the, you know what I mean? Like in East Fayetteville, like it's just bleak out there to me. I don't know what's going on, but shout out to Alan Cole, help save Fayetteville. We need some help, man. There's some great restaurants and great places here, but just like the per capita-ness of it versus what I'm seeing happen in other places in Northwest Arkansas. All right. Let's get back to some practice stuff here. I actually want to let's get back to a few practice things. So they were in shells today, good weather. They actually ran 3 high safeties today for the first time that I've seen them do that. They were in a 3-2-6. I haven't seen them do that yet. I mean, and with the second group, they went back to, a 4-2-5. I guess they had a buck out there, so maybe you'd say a 3-3-5. I think that they'll also do some 3 linebacker looks and stuff, but they have, stand-up defensive end, which would be called the buck. Sometimes maybe they play a linebacker in that role. And ran some 4-2-5, obviously. But this was the first time I saw the 3 high safety look. They had Caleb Wooden, Miguel Mitchell, and then in the middle they had Larry Worth. And we're going to see Larry Worth probably do a lot of different things depending on down and distance. We can see him at boundary, field, probably more likely boundary, but we could see him at field too. He's worked hog. He was at hog, I think, the other day, maybe yesterday, he was at hog, which is the nickel spot. And we're also going to see him at money linebacker some. They've got some stuff working him there. So they're just moving him all over the field in different spots. And I'll say this too, like with the secondary, they retained Worth, Miguel Mitchell, Selman Bridges, obviously Jaheim Singletary. And Jaheim Singletary has been out there. It's been Jaheim and Kenai Walker, the Oklahoma transfer, out there with the ones at cornerback, which I'm a little surprised by, I guess, with Jaheim. Not that I don't think that Jaheim can't be a good player. So far in his career, he hasn't lived up to what we thought he was going to be as a former 5-star recruit at Georgia. Maybe that comes this year. Maybe they're seeing that out there. But I also just know that, you brought in 2 corners out of the transfer portal, a nickel out of the transfer portal, the number 1 ranked junior college cornerback in the country, and 2 safeties. But, and all these guys have a ton of experience. And I would say that, without a doubt, they spent more money in the secondary than any other position group on defense. Without a doubt. That's where, there was a problem last year. They weren't as able to run as much man to man, sprinkle in a little zone, and they were forced to run zone. As the coaches will tell you, there was a trust issue. So they ran more zone, and that didn't really work out either. So they went out and paid big bucks for a secondary, for some competition back there. So hopefully that pays off for them, and they reduce the number of yards, the number of 40, 50, 60-yard touchdowns, which led the SEC last year. Hopefully they fix all that stuff, because that's where the money went, that secondary on defense. It's interesting because I was out there. I brought my camera, because this isn't even the new camera. This is the old one. The old one's over there. I brought my camera because I've taken thousands and thousands of photos. 570 of them are the best ones. So I always just pulling out the best. So I've got 570. I've got pictures of everybody, multiple pictures of many players. And so I was like, a couple of days ago, I was like, okay, I'm done taking pictures. I can just observe these last few practices. And Caleb Wooden came in there yesterday, and Tyler Glasscock is writing a story about it. And he says, hey, there's no picture of Caleb in Arkansas stuff. And I'm just like, oh, come on. So I bring my camera back out there today. And I also went back and looked just to make sure. And I've only got one picture of Caden Kittler because he was banged up a little bit. So I decided I was going to get some pictures of Caden Kittler, get some pictures of Caleb Wooden. So naturally in that, I am watching the defensive backs more today and watching the offensive line more today. The offensive line on the other side of the ball, I would also argue strongly, and I know they got a lot of wide receivers, but the money went in that offensive line. The money went to the secondary. The money went to the offensive line. And so I'm watching, that group as well. And, just kind of thinking that in my head, just like, how much better is this group going to be? Like, this is where they put the money in, right? Secondary, offensive line. What were the 2 struggling parts of this offense and defense last year? Secondary, offensive line. So that's where they tried to address things. And as I'm watching, obviously I'm looking at Mike Washington too. And this is, I think, an interesting thing because, Danny West, who covers recruiting, does a fantastic job, and we'll have him back on the show soon enough. Everybody's got things going on, and this is where I specialize. So I'm talking, right? That's what the show is right now. But I know that Danny had a pre-commitment article written on Eli Sanders, 5'10", 200, New Mexico, not New Mexico State, which is where Washington came from. But this was the guy that they were targeting. He had a pre-commitment story written, 147 carries, 1,063 yards, 9 touchdowns, 7.2 yards per carry. Why wouldn't he be the top guy that they would identify? This was a quote talking about Bobby Petrino. He is a genius. It's a great opportunity. It's going to be hard to pass on. It's going to be hard to pass on it. And then USC comes. And the next thing you know, he's committed to the Trojans, and he's off the board. And I'm wondering, with Mike Washington being kind of the next guy in their eyes, did they luck out getting this guy? Did they get lucky? I think if you probably talk to some coaches up there, they would probably tell you, we think we got lucky. I know that they would. So when you look at Mike Washington, his dedication, the guy that brings his hard hat every day, as they say, his speed, leaping ability, just every category with this guy, his demeanor. It's going to be interesting to me to kind of look at, how does Eli Sanders perform at USC? How does Mike Washington perform at Arkansas? Who lucked out? Who got the better deal there? We'll see. Not that Eli Sanders isn't going to do great. I'm just interested to kind of follow that storyline a little bit. Some of the things I talked about, you can read my Day 12 practice observations story. So, I also want to mention we have, and I don't have the ad read and stuff down for this, but I'm real excited to be partnering with Blakeman's Fine Jewelry in Rogers. I'm just going to talk to you about the people at Blakeman real quick because I know so many of them. Trish Robertson, some of you may know her from Little Rock. They retired, Robertsons, and she just can't sit still, so she wanted to keep doing some stuff. So she's working at Blakeman's too. Impeccable style, great lady. Jax, one of the famous Barry daughters. Shout out to the ultimate girl dad in that family also. Great people. Claire Ward, who's the daughter of Leslie Basham in Little Rock. I know a lot of you people know that. And then and there's so many people up there, people that I don't know, but the people that I do know there and have known for a while, just an amazing group of people. And it's all under the umbrella of Ben Blakeman, who, Ben and I played golf, and that guy that kind of just lifts you up a little bit. You just play better. That's the kind of guy Ben Blakeman is. And he's running the whole show. Also recently engaged and about to get married. Congratulations to Ben Blakeman. I wonder where he got the ring. Probably where Arkansas gets engaged. Probably at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry, which is located at 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway in Rogers, 72758. Remember what I said about Rogers getting all the good stuff? They just opened up a new store there. I mentioned Walker Brothers opened a new store in Rogers. So did Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. Really great people. Again, it makes me proud to be able to work with people that I know and believe in, and these are the kind of people that fall right in that category. So go check out our friends at Blakeman's. Again, 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway, Rogers, Arkansas, 72758. You're not going to find a finer jewelry store anywhere. Okay, I wanted to talk about some scenarios for Arkansas football. I had kind of said this the other day, either Arkansas is going to win 4 games or they're going to win 8 games. They could win 6. That's probably the Arkansas that we know, right? The Arkansas we know. So let's talk about the Arkansas we know. The Arkansas we know, let me bring up the schedule so I don't screw this up. But the Arkansas we know is going to take care of business against Alabama A&M, obviously. Probably look really good, hopefully, like they did against UAPB last year. Didn't look great against Kent State a couple years ago. But the Arkansas we know gets past this game. They get past Arkansas State. They go to Oxford and they lose that game and maybe challenged against Memphis, but I think they end up winning that game against Memphis. Okay. So lose to Notre Dame, lose at Tennessee after the bye week, maybe surprise somebody here, maybe surprise Tennessee or Texas A&M, maybe surprise one of those teams. Auburn, Mississippi State, probably a dud on one of those two, lay an egg on one of those two. Who knows? LSU, probably losing to Texas, LSU, Missouri, maybe they get one of those. 6 wins. That's the Arkansas you know. Scenario numero uno, the Arkansas that you know. Scenario 2, magical year. And maybe that's a magical year with this schedule is 8 wins. Maybe magical is a strong word, but nobody's going to pick them to win 9 or 10 games, right? Nobody, unless maybe fans and stuff, and I get that. Scenario number 2, excuse me, is, let's see, I've got it written down how I want to do it. Where you at? Okay. So obviously you're going to win all the games, but like if you look at Ole Miss, like we don't even really know much about Ole Miss quarterback situation and all that kind of stuff. But Arkansas lost their 52-51 in 2021, and then 2023 they lost 27-20. So go down to Oxford and win. As I've mentioned before, they took Patrick Kudus, Jalen Braxton, and Luke Hasz off of your roster, guys that you wanted to keep. They took Pooh Paul the year before. These are all guys that you would have liked to have kept on your roster. And Ole Miss better dealed them, gave them a better deal, and took them off your roster. Lane Kiffin, he undid the retweet, but there was a post out there that said, on X, it said, Arkansas has become Ole Miss's farm team. And Lane Kiffin retweeted it. He removed it, but he retweeted that. If you're not up for this game, I don't know what to tell you. You don't have a heart if you're not up for this game. So in this scenario, Arkansas goes to Oxford and wins, and they start 4-0. 4-0 is not off the table. 4-0. Play Notre Dame tough. Who knows what happens at Tennessee? You know, who knows? But you built some momentum and belief with a 4-0 start. You're nationally ranked. You're nationally ranked after you go to Oxford and win, possibly. You might be ranked then. The way I'm talking sounds like that guy. I don't know if you've seen that guy who's like selling the cards. And he's like, you're a winner, man. You got this for $34.99. You're a winner. You walk into the bar, all the girls want you. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but it's hilarious. You're winning, man. All because you bought this set. So that's what I'm trying to sell you right now, basically, and telling you you're a winner. But I think you build a lot of momentum in this scenario and get to 8 wins. I mean, let's count them. So you start off 4-0. You lose to Notre Dame. And then you beat Auburn. You beat Mississippi State. Maybe you lose to Texas A&M. I mean, and get Missouri at the end of the year. That's the path to 8. The other path is not the one that, I don't know, maybe people want to talk about it because everybody's been hurt. So the other scenario would be an ultimate disaster. Like that's dropping that Memphis game, playing terribly against Arkansas State and looking uninspired, looking like Arkansas State wants it more, and losing that Memphis game. Like you think about UAB last year. UAB beat Memphis, Memphis beat UAB like 58-18 or something. Just slaughtered them. Arkansas, it was 27. It was 30-27 Arkansas lead midway through the fourth quarter in that one. You fall behind like 10-0 against UAB last year. You can't do that against Memphis. Memphis will make that very difficult on you. and playing at their place. So you get off to a bad start against Memphis, you end up dropping that game. You just lost to Ole Miss, and you drop that game, and Notre Dame just obliterates you. And then, you know how things can go in that scenario. You know what I'm talking about. There could be, what I'm talking about. There could be a lot of things happen in that scenario. And, in that scenario, it's, 4 wins tops in that scenario. So things can go a lot of different directions. I am more uncertain because, I'm like anybody else. I see what's out there. I'm talking to the guys, asking them questions, and I like what I hear. But I also have to know, if you took me and you put me in at Auburn and I'm listening, God forbid, I'm listening to these guys talk and I'm watching the practices and stuff, I'm probably feeling pretty good about how they look. I'm probably like, man, they might do some stuff. Everybody's feeling this kind of stuff right now. The thing of it is, I don't look out there and say, I don't see a lot of holes where they don't have players. I do wonder about the defensive line. I like that Justice Boone is coming along. I like that. I still wonder about the overall depth on the defensive line. So I kind of feel like they got 2 defensive ends that are going to be problems for people, or going to be capable. That's kind of how I look at it. So I think they've got some quality at wide receiver, quality at tight end, especially with Rohan Jones and maybe with Jaden Platt. I think they beefed up the offensive line. It's a veteran team. They got a returning starter at quarterback. I mean, having a returning starter at quarterback is going to go a long way. There are teams that people are just automatically assume Arkansas is going to lose to, that don't have a quarterback situation that we really know much of anything about. That's the truth. And people are just well, they're going to lose to Tennessee. I mean, you know what I mean? Well, Taylor Green's a pretty good quarterback. I mean, and especially if he takes a leap forward, that's pretty significant. It's time to talk about some bets now. You guys familiar with the wager wagon we talked about? So each week we'll be doing the wager wagon. When we get into the season, we'll be keeping track of all this kind of stuff on Bet Saracen. But if you haven't downloaded the Bet Saracen app, you should do so, because it's Arkansas's #1 wagering app. And if you live in Arkansas, then you have to be able to do that. I've been out of state before, and oh, I want to get some action on this, and the app doesn't work. But if you're inside the state, the app works, and you can't bet on the other apps. So Bet Saracen is the way to go. #1 betting app in Arkansas. So I was looking at some of the prop bets, and one of them is Arkansas to win 4+ home games, and that's +110. I don't hate that, because it also includes the Little Rock game. So if Arkansas beats Alabama A&M, they beat Arkansas State, then they need to beat 2 more between Notre Dame. That's going to be difficult, obviously. But 2 more between Texas A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, and Missouri. I think that's all of them. So they should obviously win those first 2. But if they can win 2 out of 4, I don't hate that, especially if you're out there and you're thinking, you know what, I think Arkansas's got a chance to be pretty decent. If they're going to be pretty decent, then they're going to need to do that. So I think I like that. Arkansas to beat Mississippi State and Missouri is +155. I don't hate that one either. I mean, I'm not going to pick them to beat Missouri, but it's +155, so there's value there. So that might be a good one. I mean, that might be a good one to take. Arkansas's offense, 150 passing first downs and 15 penalties first downs. That's +135. That is what Arkansas did last year. So if Arkansas's offense is going to be better, and maybe they can commit fewer penalties on the offensive side, maybe that translates to more first downs and stuff. But it was 150 first downs passing and 15 penalties. So if you think Arkansas's offense is going to be better, maybe that's another good one. There's a lot of prop bets on there. They have got just about everything you can think of. and persons and people too. I'm just doing this one, and I'll dive into some more next week. Arkansas 24.5 field goal attempts, 17.5 field goals made. Last year it was 24 and 17. This is plus 200. So do we think that they upgraded with the number 1 ranked kicker prospect in the entire country coming out of high school? Do we think the offense is going to get down the field more? I don't hate that one either. I don't hate Arkansas going over 24 field goal attempts and making 18 of them. I don't hate that. Arkansas over 3,475.5 passing yards and 16.5 touchdowns. Last year, Talon threw for 3,571. You think they're going to go backwards in that regard? You think they're going to be more of a running team? And he threw for 16 touchdowns. Do you think Talon Green's going to have another 16 touchdown season, or you think he's going to be more accurate, put more balls in the end zone? I kind of think he might. That's plus 170. Just a few things that I like. I mean, I think that these are not all these are going to hit, but there's value in all of them because, you're plus 200 on the field goals ones, for example. So, and there's a lot of other ones. You can bet whether Arkansas goes undefeated in the regular season if you want to, and it's like 20 plus 25,000 or something. Like there's a lot of options there. You can check them all out at Bet Saracen. Randy Rainwater, my friend there, does double R prop bets, and so there's a ton of things there's a ton of bets on there. Go check them out at Bet Saracen. Download the app if you haven't done so already.
It's a fine barbecue, Joe.
My own secret recipe.
Where's Super Sid? I got him on the FaceTime.
Where you at, Sid?
Hey, I'm in Milwaukee at the Bucks game.
How are they playing?
They're pretty good. They just need to get healthy.
Speaking of playing, what's shaking at Bet Saracen?
Oh, great offers, Pat. Like for new players to Bet Saracen, they'll get $125 to use for new bets.
Gotta love Bet Saracen.
All right, we always do questions, and we're going to take yours now. Sorry for the late show. Practice. We'll get on more of a consistent schedule once the season gets going. Next week, really, we'll be on a more consistent schedule. We'll do the show on Monday around 2 o'clock or so. Sam Pittman's press conference is at noon every Monday, so around 2 o'clock, and then around noon on Thursday, unless I want to change it up. I might consider doing the show a little bit earlier on Thursday. I don't know, but we'll see. But we'll get on a more consistent schedule as soon as things get going. Of course, Monday's show is the – what do we call Monday's show? Thursday's show is the primer. I don't know if we have a name for Monday's show, but Thursday's show is the primer as we preview the upcoming game. Of course, that won't be next week. WPS 1987 says 68 months, 373 posts. What's up, Trey? Could we see more screens and end arounds with some of our quicker, smaller receivers this year in year 2 of the Bobby Petrino offense? So they ran a screen in the scrimmage. Was it the scrimmage? No, it was yesterday in practice. They ran a screen to Monte Harrison, who's 6'3", 230. So not smaller and quicker, but yeah, I do think that we'll see that. As they mentioned, Cam Shanks has been in and out of practice, trying to get back healthy. I think he's been back pretty full now, but there'll be scenarios where they put both of those guys in. We saw last year they would motion them into the backfield and hand the ball off to them, or run passing routes to them out of the backfield also. So, yeah, I think we could see some end arounds, some jet sweeps, and I would run more screens. I think Barry Lundy used to say, he's talking about his completion percentage, like these were real passes. Like not all these screens and easy dump off stuff. These were real throws downfield. But I guess it depends on how well you can block out there, but I would be in favor with those guys to run more screens. Utilize what you've got. You got smaller, quicker guys at wide receiver. Utilize them. I don't know. Angelo, I can't read the last name. You know why. 8 months, 30 posts, only 30 posts. If you could add one former Hog to offense and defense this year, who would it be? Who would they be? For me, it's Traylon Burks on offense and Billy Ray on defense. I would add on offense. I mean, like, I'm trying to think, like, I would love to have, like, Ryan Mallett, you know, obviously rest his soul, but like in a fantasy world, like, but I don't want to say that because they've got Taylon Green. I think Taylon's going to be pretty good. Like, same reason I would say Darren McFadden, because I think Darren's going to be pretty good, or excuse me, Mike Washington is going to be pretty good. It's hard for me not to say Darren, regardless. Like, having Mike Washington and Darren McFadden, I'm going to go with Darren McFadden because you can do different things with him. I mean, you could. When Darren was a sophomore, like he was split out wide a lot. Gus Malzahn had him split out wide and stuff. I don't think they ever really did that. But having those two guys with, I'll go Darren McFadden. I mean, he's probably the greatest running back, or the greatest Razorback of all time. So I'll go Darren. And on defense, who do I want? I think I want a lineman. I might have to think about that on defense. There are a lot of really, like Quentin Caver would be nice because you could do so much with Quentin Caver on the edge and at linebacker and just bolster that. Marcus Harrison. I mean, obviously Billy Ray, you're going back like before my time kind of on some of those guys, like a Billy Ray Smith or something, Dan Hampton. That's a tough one. I would pick some defensive lineman in my lifetime, maybe a Marcus Harrison. Jamal Anderson was pretty good at defensive end. That's a tough one. I like the idea of adding Quentin. Quentin Caver was like 6'5". He could do a lot. CJ McLean was a dog. There's a lot of ways. We could go Batman Carroll if you wanted. Go Chris Houston. Chris Houston was a good player. Steve Atwater. I might have to go Steve Atwater. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of where's a weakness. Probably defensive line. I have to go there. Wes Hogg says 9,777 posts, 137 months. I hope you guys see like the length of time that a lot of these people have been subscribed. And as I've mentioned, we're 50% off right now at HawgSports. I don't know if you could hear me there. 50% off at HawgSports. That breaks down to $60 for the entire year. $5 a month. Build at just $60 for the whole year. Get all of our Razorback coverage, all the transfer portal stuff that'll be coming eventually, anything else that's coming down the road the next year. You've got access to it at an incredible rate, half off. Number one independent source on Arkansas sports and recruiting, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. It's $1.15 a week, $5 a month. It's a hell of a deal. Sign up at HawgSports. Okay, so Wes Hogg says, what do you make of Singletary running with the ones recently in fastball? I still think there's a lot to determine there. And who do you think will be the starting outside corners? I think right now, Kenai Walker will be one, just based on what I've seen so far. And it wouldn't surprise me to see them go Singletary out of the gate. It wouldn't surprise me to see Selman Bridges. It wouldn't surprise me to see Julian Neal. And Keyshawn Davila, man, I mean, he's like the guy that leads them in interceptions. But yeah, I would agree. Like, he feels like that's not the one position we don't have a good grasp on who's starting, and I would agree with that. Like, I think that's still very to be determined. I do have a feeling on Kenai Walker starting, though. Jurassic Pork, 69 months, nice, 159 posts. What do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of our coordinators? Well, I think Travis is, he gets on their butt, like in practice, but they all seem to love him and respect him and want to be coached hard. And that's just part of it, but he will get after people's butt. His ability, I think, to relate to the guys, Travis is 42 years old. It's not like he's only 5 years younger than I am. But he seems to really relate to the guys, and I think that's probably a strength of his. He wants to be aggressive. Just does he have the personnel to do that? And then offense, I mean, Bobby Petrino just like doing the opposite of what everybody thinks he's going to do. That's always been a strength of his. It's not the play. I have his book somewhere. I think it's in this drawer somewhere. Where is my Bobby P book? I've got his book. It's got his plays. It's got his philosophies in there. It's just, I think what makes him different is when he calls those plays. Where is that book? I don't know. I don't know where I put it. Should be in one of these drawers. But anyway, those are, I would say that's the strengths and weaknesses. I didn't say any weaknesses, but those are the strengths. Raw Hog says 68 months, 983 posts. It's a bunch of new guys in the receiver game, but do you think they will fit more what Bobby likes? Sounds like a lot of speed out there. This is one of the years where I just do not know 100% what to expect. I think those three scenarios, one of those will play out, and it's just tough. I mean, there's over 50 scholarship players who are new in their first year here. I mentioned, like, there's 28 seniors on this team. Cam Ball is the only one who started and will end his career as a Razorback. That's crazy. Like, other guys, like, the only other player I think who is close to that is Amarian Harris, who is a redshirt junior. But it's just difficult. Like, I think Omega Blake is going to be good. I thought Tyrone Broden last year might be good. Like, his testing numbers and stuff were off the chain. I mean, off the chain. Really? You're 47. Shut up. His testing numbers were ridiculous. And he had probably the most remarkable catch in camp of anybody, and maybe the best catch that I've seen in years in camp. And then his hands were stone in the game. So, yeah, I think Raylan Sharp can be a consistent, steady presence. I think that Omega Blake has maybe the best all-around potential. Monte Harrison has been messing people up left and right. Like, he has been really good, like another player. Antonio Jordan has so much potential that they seem to like. He comes along as they think that he will. And C.J. Brown's another guy that has seemed to have taken his game up a notch. But we just don't really know. And I hate to, I know a lot of people are looking to me to, because I'm at practice and stuff, but they have not given us a lot of one-on-one or team stuff to really hone in on. I had a lot of that in the spring, and from the spring, I feel like I've got a good grasp on, who the best players are on the team relative to everyone else on the team. But you just don't know. I mean, and you don't know what everybody else has. That's another big one. Like, a lot of teams out there, some teams don't add a lot of, like Tennessee added 7 or 8 guys out of the transfer portal. A lot of teams out there, like Arkansas, add a ton of players. There's a ton of turnover. You just don't know. Did they hit on the guys? Like, did they get guys that are better than they think? Like, I think Mike Washington is, Did they miss on some guys? I think it's difficult. Willie Beeman. Shout out Willie Beeman. Friend of mine from way back. 209 months. Willie Beeman's been with us, 6,470 posts. Do you believe our defense could be a top half of the SEC? I think that is definitely on the table. I think that is possible. Worry about the defensive line. They have been that before. Last year they took a step back. Looking at the depth chart, I don't think I've ever seen a defense have that many seniors that are actually talented. There's a couple ways to build a team out of the transfer portal. Version 1 is getting 5 stars and, guys that, did all this. And the other one is to get guys that are veteran players who are maybe playing on a level that they're probably better than. Like, Larry Worth has, to me, all the capability to be an all-SEC type of player. And another guy like Miguel Mitchell, who played at Florida, Caleb Wooden, who played at Auburn. Then you have Julian Neal, who was at Fresno State. Kenai Walker, who was at Oklahoma. But you got a guy from Fresno State. Larry Worth was from Jacksonville State. So there's Trent Whalen is a guy that they seem to like, who was at Utah State. There's an image of John Ridgway with his shirt off at a press conference the other day. He was a Division II player, Division I AA. Isaac TeSlaa was a Division II. Andrew Armstrong was 1AA. So there's a ton of guys out there. Raylan Sharp also on the offensive side of the ball that, there's a mix of guys out there, but it's just so difficult to say. What I know, what I see out there is a really big defense, especially secondary. Their testing numbers are what they should be as far as speed and things like that. Are they ballers? Are they different? Is there a guy out there who's different? Travis or Marcus was saying the other day, like, we've got one, we're one unit, wouldn't really like separate a guy from the unit. Well, if there's not a guy that's like better at safety than everybody and a guy that's like better than everybody at corner, like studs, future NFL types, that could be a problem because other teams got future NFL guys coming at you. Angelo says, did you create the intro music for HawgSports Live? Kind of a banger. So that is a song called The Keys. And when I had the intro made, it's a free use. It's free use. And when I had the intro made, this is what they used. And so I've been using it ever since. Can you still hear me? It's not bad. Everybody can still hear me, right? Razorback from KC says, do you think an SEC school should ever play at a school like Memphis? Absolutely not. And do you think our athletic department will learn from this year's scheduling mistakes? No, I don't. I don't think that they'll learn a thing from it. So I think that you shouldn't be playing a 2-for-1 against Memphis, but you also, the fact that they couldn't figure a way out to at least have that game at Memphis be a different year when Memphis's stadium isn't completely under construction just blows my mind how that they couldn't work that out. And I know that's Memphis being like, nope, we're going to do it this way. And I guess it's easy for me to say because I know there's, $1 million involved or whatever, but I'm surprised that they couldn't figure that out or that Memphis wasn't like, you know what, maybe we'll take – but maybe Memphis just feels like they've got to – I mean, they won 10 games 2 years ago. Last year they won 11. Maybe they feel like this is their year. They just named the Nevada transfer as the starting quarterback, a guy who can run, by the way. Bud Elliott says Memphis spends more money in NIL than any school in G5, any of the schools. But no, I don't – I think that's – that should be beneath Arkansas, in my opinion. It should be beneath them. Man of Squeal says, great names for Arkansas people. 38 months, 582 posts. Hey, Trey, do you have a vibe shift within the team this year versus last year? But that's every year. Like, I hate questions like, who are the leaders that have emerged with this program? It's just such a softball type of question. Like, that they can't wait to answer. And I don't know. Every year's got the best bond, and that's great. Like, I love when players say that kind of stuff, but it's just like, show me, I need to see it. Does this team seem more disciplined? I don't know. You don't really know until they get out there, and you're like, this guy jumps off sides all the freaking time. What's going on? But it's an older group, so yes, like you said, Delta Hog, you would think that would help. Hogwild97 says, Trey, favorite golf course you've ever played? I mean, I play a lot of golf, but I am not like well traveled as a golfer. Not really at all. Like, the best course I played this year was Ozark National in Branson. I played Shark's Tooth in Destin this year, which I enjoyed. Too many gnats, though. I got a gnat in my ear after the first hole. I birdied the first hole and then had a gnat in my ear for 2 holes and could not get it out. I was picking up pine straw, sticking in my ear. I know you don't get to do that at home, kids, but I had to, it was like a low, like in my ear. And then eventually, like somewhere on the third hole, it's like, flew out. Gnats love me. That's why I don't go down the south of the gnat line if I can avoid it. but they love me. So I liked, what is it, Bali High? It's been few years since I played it in Vegas. Bali High. I like more of a parkland style golf course versus like a links style. And I played like the Wolf something in Vegas. Last year I played Mossy Oak in which is Mississippi State's home course outside of Starkville, and I played at Old Waverly, which is a private club with condos and stuff, which I thought was really fun. But the best, I mean, Ozark National is pretty nice, but I haven't been to like Pebble Beach and all that kind of stuff, and Pinehurst and Banded. I've not been to like all those kind of courses and stuff like that. So favorite golf course I've ever played, maybe the courses that I've played the best. If anybody out there wants to take me to a lotion, I will answer Razorback questions the entire time. Shoot me an email, Trey at HawgSports, or better yet, DM me on X. My DMs are open. So DM me on X and I will come play a lotion. I would love to do that. Nobody's ever invited me, so I want to check it out. Warren Stevens, shout out if you want to have me there. I would love to do it. Besides quarterback, what's the one player we don't need injuries on offense? On offense? Well, I don't think they're exceptionally deep at running back. I would hate to – you're going to get running backs banged up, but Mike Washington sounds like right now would be a problem. Corey Robinson, that wouldn't be good. Your starting left tackle, guy that they like really targeted and wanted to make him part of the program. That would be difficult. I don't even want to talk about that kind of stuff. WPS 1987, 68 months, 373 posts. All right, last one here. Live and Guy, 25 months, 82 posts. Trey, do you think we'll be better with time of possessions with improved offense? I think that they could, control it on the ground. Like you got Talon, if he stays healthy, Mike Washington, Braylon Russell, you should be a pretty effective running team. Will that help keep defenses from getting gas like last year and improve our overall season outlook? Possibly. If they can run I would always would you rather be able to pass the ball a lot or run the ball? I would always pick running the ball. It's more consistent. It's kind of like in basketball, like you want to be able to have like dominant post players, as John Calipari says, because like shooting the three, you can go cold, like you can be a lot more consistent with dominant post players. I think the same thing with running the ball in football. And yeah, like if you can keep a defense out on the field and get them gassed and you're in the fourth quarter, that's how you win games. That's what Alabama has done to everybody. We used to always refer to Alabama as the king of the slow death. Like you sitting there like, hell, we battled them for 3 quarters. Yeah, but that's how they play, and they completely wore you out because they're bigger, stronger, faster, and they got more depth than you. And then the fourth quarter comes along, and Brooks Ellis can't breathe because he's been out on the field the whole time. And you've got Derrick Henry running at him. And you limited Derrick Henry, but fourth quarter he ran wild. I wonder why that is, because that's how you play football. All right, everybody. I would like to give one more shout-out to our friends over at Crane. Go check them out, craneteam.com. 16 locations. The Crane Automotive Team has 16 locations across our state and is home to the Crane Commitment. You'll find Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and access to thousands of pre-owned vehicles. Vehicles for every lifestyle and every budget. Even if you're not in the market for a new vehicle, the Crane Team Service Centers offer the latest in vehicle diagnostic technology and certified technicians to take care of your vehicle and get you back out on the road. Check them out at craneteam.com. HawgSports Live is driven by the Crane Automotive Team. Thank all of you guys for being here. Appreciate you making the show popular. Couldn't do it without all y'all. Give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Take a moment right now. You're done listening to the show. Open up the app. 5 stars. Maybe leave a little review. It's been a little bit since somebody's left in one, but we are the #1 rated and most reviewed show about Arkansas. Thanks for joining me, everybody. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. We will catch you next time.